such an asshole.
How y'all doing? Shucks howdy. All right. A little Cowboy Bebop. We got a question about that. Even though Texas probably was no more in Cowboy Bebop. And I just happened to be wearing my Ein hat that I got at Walmart yesterday. Our good buddy Dre, regular insulter of me and herder of my feelings, he is moving to Texas. And so I'm going to preface this where I'm asking other people out there to help our good friend Dre. He's military or retired, actually. Well, not retired, but he's veteran. And so he's going to school, and now he wants to move out of California, I think it is. I don't know why he went there. No one listens to me. And now he wants to go to Texas. Now, I don't know that much about Texas. I've driven through it a handful of times and visited people here or there, but I don't know the areas that good. So I'm kind of hoping you Texans, shucks howdy, can help out our buddy Dre. Greetings, Brokeback Dude Bro, Big Four reject from the Carlson School of Management. I request your toxic boomer advice regarding relocating to Texas. Since you know people like your mistress, MJ is not my mistress. She's just my plaything. That's now I got to show her this. I'm not your plaything. And other people like the great one who've known Texas well, or better yet, currently live in Texas. Relevant information to request. I'm just looking for a cheap apartment or studio in a decent area of Texas since I'm a single minimalist. I have the following questions regarding Texas. 1, what areas would you recommend moving to that isn't being overran with California residents, riots, or woke people like Austin? 2, any advice you or Texas residents you know would think be important to know regarding Texas? Name your price, you cheap Smurf. Dude, you weren't even around when the Smurfs came out. You just know it from a historical context, probably in your history books. All right. So, obviously many people, if you can't, I'll tell you, I don't know that much about Texas. Yes, you can avoid Austin, but if you get outside of Austin, like any major metro area, you'll do better. Dallas Fort Worth I enjoy very much because they built freaking roads to keep up with the population. They didn't just throw money to a bunch of welfare sponges who, oh my gosh, surprise, just bred out more welfare sponges, but they can all afford cars and flat panel TVs, and then they're poor. So traffic is for a very large metro area. The traffic is actually quite good. I'd say the best for any major metro area that I've driven through. Houston, not the same. I don't know what Houston did. I did not like Houston, and the traffic was bad. Hot as blazes, whether you're in Dallas or you're in all the way south into Houston. I didn't mind San Antonio. It was all right, but I literally went east-west and then north-south. That's it. And I hung out with Mary Jo 2 nights, 1 night each trip. Very quick, brief visits. And no, there was no way, hey. We just did a video where I told her, again, prove to her why she's wrong about yet another thing. But San Antonio was all right. Military town, Air Force Base is down there. They got the Riverwalk. That was nicer than I thought. That was one of those things where like, oh, you got to go to the Riverwalk. Well, no, I don't want to go to the Riverwalk. Everyone keeps pushing this on me. It can't be that great if the normies. And I go, oh, this is kind of nice. But here's one thing I did. I mean, Texas is huge. So you could get, like, if you want the proper Creole South, you could go towards the Louisiana border. If you want to go tornado chasing, and I don't know what Oklahomans do, you could go north. If you want to kind of get away from it all, you can go to the Panhandle, Amarillo. You want to get way the hell away from everybody, you could go to Van Horn or El Paso. And then Texas, I guess, would be considered Dallas and Austin, maybe. But the one thing I noticed about Texas, man, they got a lot of electoral votes. It's a pretty densely populated state. So you'll be driving, and I'm accustomed to upper Midwest where there's nothing, because there's no reason to live in the upper Midwest unless you're a farmer. And farmers take up a ton of land. And so it's very sparsely populated. There's nothing there. So like you're either in, a Milwaukee or a Chicago or a Minneapolis, or you're in some small podunk town. And maybe you get some regional towns like a Duluth or a Peoria, a Springfield, St. Cloud. I mean, heck, South Dakota and North Dakota don't even have, their biggest towns are mid-sized towns, Fargo, Sioux Falls. But Texas has a lot, like their small towns are not that small. Like there's car dealerships, multiple gas stations. And there's some sizable 50,000 plus towns. And the reason I bring that up is, let's say you want to avoid the Californians. You want to avoid traffic. But you still want to go to college. I got to imagine that there's a lot of accredited colleges out there in Texas, in a town of 60, 70,000 people, far enough away from the major metros, but big enough it's got a Walmart or two, and some cosmopolitan, you get a restaurant here or there. But if you want to be left alone and be hanging out with the gun-toting type of guys, yeah, there's plenty of that out there. But I don't know. I've only driven through. I remember I was on my way out. I was on some college campus, and the town was like 120,000 people. It was on the east side of Texas. I went to Abilene. Wow, there's a lot of cattle and not much else. If you like cattle, go West Texas, northwest Texas. That's what I would do if you're not looking for that. But otherwise, man, if it was up to me, I'd go Dallas. I like Dallas a lot. Fort Worth is all right. Kind of a slightly lower class of people working in the medical field there. So I would, as long as you're not working in the medical field, don't know anyone in the medical field, then you'll be all right. But no, Fort Worth, Dallas is just fine. I really enjoyed it what little time I was there. God almighty, they love their tolls. Oh, you couldn't just do a gas tax, could you? You just could. No state income tax, all the gun laws and no lack of gun laws. Like the gun laws, like, no, you're right, is enshrined. But you just couldn't just do a sales tax or a gas tax, huh? No, you have to have tolls, lots of tolls. I didn't like that about Dallas. So there you go. So hopefully the other people have some comments down below. Hopefully someone in Texas can, in the comments section, provide you some advice. But yeah, man, I don't really know all that much. It's one of the very sparsely traveled states I've been to. And I just don't really have a reason to go to Texas that much. Do we have any super chats? Don DeMarco is in there. Boo boo. Lubbock. Okay. Ron says Lubbock. Calm place. Okay. Thanks, Ron. Traffic. No, Ron, you've not lived in Chicago. You haven't lived in an upper Midwest state where all the Scandinavians drive like the cowards that they are. Go to New York, go to any California town. You'll find out the traffic in Dallas is not bad at all. Booty, booty, boo, booty, booty, boo, booty, booty, boo. That's it. All right. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.